All right. So last week, what were you guys talking about with math and Mr. Juza? I could see a little things up here with the pixels, and you have your KBs and your Bs. What does all that mean? Does anybody remember? Nobody remembers what Mr. Juza did up here?
Kilobytes and bytes and stuff like that.
Okay, you talked about kilobytes, bytes, megabytes, probably. That's what we're gonna get into. So, what does that mean?
Like
Anybody?
the amount of disk space or size that you have on a laptop or like another device.
Or any technology, even your phone, right? It has a certain amount of, what do we call that? What could you call that in I'm gonna say my terminology, because if you tell me it's a kilobyte or a megabyte, honestly, I'm gonna be like, what is that? It's referred to, or what does everybody say? It's your what?
Memory.
Your memory, right? There's a memory inside your computer, inside your phone, and it can store only so much, correct? Just like your brain, you can only store so much. But it's amazing what we even store up here, right? You can remember something maybe when you were 5 years old, but you can't remember what you did last week sometimes, right? It's weird. It's like, what'd you have for dinner last night? I don't know. What'd you do when you were 5? I went to Disney World and I met Mickey Mouse.
That's the same thing as me.
So it's weird. So I did look this up because, to be brutally honest, this is my brother's more thing. My brother does tech stuff for the government and everything like that. So he's my go-to guy. But I've learned quite a bit because I have taught binary numbers when I used to teach in Toms River. I taught at the Toms River Center, and they have computer science and they have computer programming. So I've done that. So does anybody know? Let's start with a byte because I see you have bytes. How much is a byte? Or what is a byte? Does anybody know what a byte is? That's what we call it.
Isn't 8 bytes like the basis of what it is?
And I looked it up. It says that a group of binary digits or bits, usually 8, operated as a unit, and a byte is considered as a unit of memory size. And today, a byte is a total of 8 bits. Okay? Total of 8 bits. And we're only going to get to a byte, a kilobyte, megabyte, and a gigabyte, and then we're going to stop there. And what about a kilobyte?
That's 1,000.
That's 1,000. A kilobyte is actually 1,024 bytes. But to make it nice and round, we say it's 1,000. And we do it in base 2. And again, we're not going to get so much into that. We're going to use the thousands and everything like that. And it says here, and I thought this was interesting, it's 2 or 3 paragraphs of text. So that's how much a kilobyte is. 2 or 3 paragraphs of text. What about a megabyte? Does anybody know how much that is?
You guys have your worksheets from last week?
Isn't that like a million? No, that's 100. That's a million.
That's a million. Exactly, that's a million. Which is really 1,048,576 bytes. But that's such an odd number, so we like to keep it round, right? So we just say a million. Which they said it's 873 pages of plain text, which is 1,200 characters, or 4 books. How many of you read books? Awesome. I love fellow readers. I read books too. Any favorites or no?
All the Dark Places by Jennifer Nevin.
Okay.
I like all like horror books, so like It and like Stephen King things.
Okay. I used to be a James Patterson, and then I got into somebody else now. But I still go back to my James Patterson every once in a while. So that is 4 books, 200 pages, or 240,000 characters. And then what about a gigabyte?
A billion.
Then you add a couple more zeros, so not much.
A billion, exactly. So it's 1,073,741,824. That's a lot. So this is saying it's 894,784 pages of plain text, which is 1,200 characters, 4,473 books. Does anybody think they're going to read that many books in their lifetime? No? Or 200 pages, or 240,000 characters, 640 web pages, 341 digital pictures, and 256 MP3 audio files. Does anybody do MP3s anymore? Is that,
I mean, I sometimes do.
yeah?
Like, to down, like an MP3 converter that I use on the websites and stuff.
Okay. Now for today's worksheet, you're gonna convert bytes to megabytes, kilobytes, or gigabytes. What's the matter?
I suck at math, right?
You suck at math? Okay, what if I make it simple for you?
Still goes, right.
What happens if I say you probably won't even need a calculator?
It's not like I'm
I'd appreciate one.
And I said on the today's worksheet, if you need one, you're more than welcome to use one. All right.
Sweet.
So we said for a kilobyte, that was what? How many bytes?
$1 million.
Not a million.
It's
1,000 bytes, right? So 1,000 bytes. So if I give you how many bytes I have, and then we want to change it to kilobytes, could we do that?
Yeah.
Yeah? You sure?
Yeah.
Okay. So what if I had 14,000 bytes?
It would be 14 kilobytes.
How did you get that?
Well, one goes into 14 times.
Okay.
And then you just don't have to count the zeros because they cancel each other out.
Okay, so you can either do it that way. What other way could you do it? What is with this number that you don't see? But you do see it on a calculator.
A decimal.
A decimal. And where is that decimal?
Where the parentheses, or no,
It's at the end.
of last zero.
It's at the end, right? Okay, we'll delete this. I said delete.
Basically what you're doing.
Like if I was on a computer.
Everything's computer based.
I'm sorry, what's your name?
Pauly.
Paulie?
Yeah.
Alright, so Paulie says my decimal's here. What are you essentially doing with that decimal?
Just moving it to where the comma is.
Okay, that's what everybody tends to think, but there is a method of how many times you move it.
Yeah, it's how many zeros are in the other number.
So in this case, how many times are we moving it?
Three.
To the left twice or 3 times.
Three, well, you told me 14. If you told me twice, it would be 140, right?
Yeah, you're right.
So 1, 2, 3. And I get 14 kilobytes. Now, does that make it a little bit easier?
Yeah.
So when you're looking from bytes to kilobytes, how many times are we moving this decimal?
3.
We're moving this. So bytes, and I'll use 2. Why do you think I'm going to put 2 in there? I kind of said it before. Why do you think I put this 2 in there? Anybody know anything about computers a little bit? Because in all this, they work in base 2. Oh, I get it. It's a Wednesday, almost like a Tuesday. We can kind of think of it like a Tuesday, right? Yesterday was our Monday.
Tuesday. Is that what the twos?
If we did it yesterday, right?
Yeah.
Alright, so we have Paulie, Black Hat. What's your name?
Ocean.
Ocean,
Isaiah.
Isaiah,
Kendra.
Kendra,
Cassandra.
Jasandra. Okay. I'm gonna see if I can, even though there's not many of you here right now, to see if I can still remember that. Alright, so let's try another one. What if I had 32,000 bytes, and I want to make it to kilobytes? Because I want to. Why do I say Cassandra? But is it Cassandra? No,
Joe Sandra.
Cassandra. Kendra.
Kendra. I combined both of your names. I apologize. Kendra. So if I'm going from bytes to kilobytes, 32. All right. Now what if I have 5,000? Isaiah, right?
5.
5.
Oh, geez.
How quickly is that? Are we picking up on that?
Yes.
Okay. Anybody having difficulties with this? All right, let's move on from bytes to what's the next one?
Megabytes or
Megabytes, because megabytes was what?
a million kilobytes.
100,000. That's a million.
No, a million. 1 million, so it's 1, comma 000.
Oh, I think I'm like
Megabytes, right? Sorry. I
that.
have to look at my notes. 1 million bytes equals 1 megabyte. So if we're using the same type of formula, let's just say, in a little bit, from bytes to kilobytes, what do you think we're gonna do here before I even, how do you think I would do this one? If I'm moving the decimal places 3 places to get to kilobytes, how many decimal places do you think I'm gonna move to get to a megabyte?
6 places?
6, and why do you say 6?
Because there's 6 zeros.
There's 6 zeros. Does this make it easy? Alright, not too bad. So what if I say I had 53 and I'm making these numbers up?
Holy cow. I wish I had that much money.
Me too, I wouldn't be here.
I'd be on a beach teaching jet ski lessons.
There you go.
Where would you be?
On a beach teaching jet ski lessons.
Oh, so you'd still be working though.
Oh yeah.
Okay. Okay.
I can't sit down for longer than 5 minutes.
That would keep you safe.
Actually, I give you props. You have right now, so that's good.
Okay.
All right. So what about this one? What do you have?
I would say 53.
53. You said it with a question mark though. I want to know either are you unsure or are you confident?
I'm confident.
You're confident?
Yes.
And how many people believe and agree with Isaiah?
Yeah, it's 53.
Anybody disagree? No? Okay, good. It's 53. What if I had
Ooh, here we go.
500,000?
Oh.
Now I'm upset.
Uh-oh. What happens now? What if I had 500,000?
It's 0.5.
Yep.
What was that hand raise? And if you don't raise your hand, now I'm not gonna remember your name. Paul.
Probably.
Paul. Got it, Paul. Okay, it's really sad how I'm gonna remember your name, and please don't hate me for it. I am one
Jersey
of these.
Shore.
Yeah.
Pauly D.
Either that or Big Brother. Big Brother, they had a Paulie, and he was from Howell, and I live in Howell, and I met him, so sorry.
Hey, it could be like Paulie Walnuts from The Sopranos.
I do like Paulie D on Jersey Shore, though. I like
I
that.
think he's better. Probably more relatable to these guys.
Probably, right? Do you watch it?
No.
No. I already knew what I was talking about. All right, does everybody understand how Paulie got 0.5?
Yes, I did.
Okay, where's my decimal?
Right next
Right
to
next
the
to
last
the
zero.
5.
Okay, it's right here.
5
And then you
zeros
go.
And then how many times do I move to the left?
in. 5.
6.
6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5,
Oh,
6.
told you I did think you.
Okay. Does everybody understand that?
Yeah.
Yes.
All right, and you're just gonna keep doing these for the problem. And like I said, it's the same thing for the problems that I give you. All right, there's I think 5 problems per section. So, and I didn't say make it fun. I said if you wanted to change your color for your answer so it stands out, by all means.
Okay, I'm just gonna look at the rainbow.
So our rule for this one was what?
It was 6 decimal places.
All right. So let's write that down. And again, while you're doing this, and if you're stuck on any problems, by all means, raise your hand and I'll help you. And our last one is what? So we did kilobytes, megabytes. What's the last one? So we went to a million. What's the last one we're gonna talk about?
I should put that on my notes.
Gigabytes.
Okay, gigabytes, because that is what?
A billion.
Billion. How many zeros are in that?
Too many.
Right? How many? I'm sorry?
9.
9, correct.
3 million.
Oh. Glad I caught myself. Right, 1 gigabyte. So if we're taking the same rules as over here, what are we essentially gonna do to this one?
Move the decimal 9 spots.
Move the decimal 9 spots. And Holly says I could do this, right?
Yeah.
Brendan looks on my phone.
Alright.
Because if I don't write them down, I'm gonna forget.
Yeah, as long as you remember like these kind of conversion factors, right? How many spaces you're moving over, then it should be relatively easy.
Yeah. Can you see? Am I in your way? I'll get out of your way in a second if you need to. So what would be the answer to this one? How many gigabytes would I have? 19. And now that we know how to move the decimal and all that, we can almost figure them out quick, right? What if I had? Now these you might have to do a little bit more work if you're unsure. So if I was to, let's actually move the decimal for this one because I purposely did it. Where's my decimal now?
At the end,
At the end. And if I was to move it, how many times am I moving it?
9 times.
9 times. So let's move it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So what happens with this?
You put a 0.
Okay, because does anybody remember if you have a dip, what do you add? A 0, and that goes for everything, remember? So now what's my answer for how many gigabytes I have?
0.06.
0.06, good. Don't forget that 0 after that decimal. They do trick you on maybe a couple of these where you're gonna have to add the 0. Because if you forget that 0, is this the same as this?
No.
No, those are not the same.
It's 6% to 60%.
Exactly. This is saying you have 6%, if you're looking at a percentage. And this is saying 60, because in this case, we'd add the 0 after it. Yes,
I'm getting a little bit confused. So-
Okay.
So how come you did, move the decimal 9 times?
because this is saying 1 billion bytes equals 1 gigabyte. So if according to our rules, we moved it 3, then 6, this one's 9.
Oh,
I'll write it down in the notes. so you
Okay.
can see it.
Now, when we did this one, when we moved it 9 times,
yeah,
we got before the 6.
yep,
So we had to add that 0.
okay.
Make sense?
Yeah, it's starting to get up there.
So why don't you give me my rule? If I'm going from bytes to gigabytes, how many times am I moving that decimal?
9 times.
There you go.
I converted 9 first. Alright, and in which direction are we going with all of this?
That's what I was just thinking too.
To the left.
Sing the Beyonce song, yeah, something like that in her head.
I know, right? That's an old song too now. I feel old. So remember, each time we're moving it to the left, not to the right. Because if you move it to the right, what's going to happen with your number?
It's gonna get bigger.
It's going to get bigger.
Sir.
And then you're not following the rules.
We should remake that song. To the left, move the decimal
Right?
place to the
We
left.
can
to the
make a
left.
math song, I bet, about it.
Yeah.
It'd probably take me forever to figure out what to say and write the
Yes,
lyrics.
that'd be awesome. You'll
My
be
brother
seeing
made a
him
There you
dance
go.
so high.
It would go
Huh?
viral.
My brother
That
made
would
a
go
math
so
song.
well.
Did he?
Yeah.
About what?
It was like, I want to say calculus and to suit and tie. Yeah. I don't know. It was when he was in high school.
Oh, what is he now? College or
He
even?
graduated college.
Did he? What is he doing now?
I don't know, but he graduated for engineering.
Oh, good for him. That's awesome. Good for him. All right, so I put your worksheet on the Google Classroom. Just make sure you write your full name and today's date. And again, you can change the color to write your answers in so it doesn't look all black. But make a copy of your worksheet before you start it. Okay? So I'm gonna walk around as you guys do this. So if anyone has any questions while you're doing this, let me know. To your computers. Same with you virtual students. If you have any questions, just unmute yourself and ask.